Well, normally I would open up my video with "Welcome back, my little locals," but you may have noticed that that is no longer the name of any of my online platforms. My Instagram account has changed, my YouTube channel has changed, and my website has changed. And so I figured, you know what? I really need to make a video where I just explain why these changes are taking place and what is in store moving forward. I first need to apologize. My phone is actually broke. The sound no longer works, so I can't really do recordings. So I'm using my laptop, which is very grainy, and I have never used a laptop for my recording, so it may appear to be low quality. I'm hoping to get a new phone in the next few weeks, and so hopefully we'll be back to our normal quality video. So, as you have noticed, and as I just mentioned, all of my online platforms have gone through some changes in the last couple of weeks and will continue to go through some changes throughout the summer. Over the last few months, I've really been thinking about how I can make all of my online platforms streamlined and timeless. What I mean by timeless is, if you think about the theme of becoming the local, that really only applies in the short span of moving to a new state. 10 years down the road, I'm not really relevant with the theme of becoming the local because I am the local. And if you've been tracking with me over the last 10 years, you've noticed that my social media platforms have kind of gone through these cyclical changes. And that's because in the past, I have focused this space on very intentional seasons of my life. For example, when I was a traveling nurse, I was traveling around the country, traveling around the world. And so my content was functioning under the umbrella of Good Vibe Travels. No longer applies anymore. So then I transitioned into becoming the local. No longer applies anymore. And I was just getting tired of having to change things up every few years to kind of stay relevant with where I'm at in life. And about 6 months ago, I really started thinking, you know what? Do I just want to delete everything online? Like delete my social media, delete my YouTube channel, no longer have a website. And I spent some time thinking about that and praying about that. And when I really set in that possibility, that option, I realized, you know what, in my heart of hearts, that's not what I want to do. I actually love this space. This space has allowed me to connect with people from around the country and around the world that now I consider dear friends and who have impacted my life significantly. And so I think that this space is still very important, something that I'm passionate about. And so once I kind of resolved in my heart, no, I don't want to step away from these things. I'm passionate about them and I love doing this. Then the question was, okay, well, how can I standardize all of these platforms to connect well with each other, but continue to be relevant no matter what season of life that I'm in? And so it finally hit me, well, why don't I just function under the umbrella of my name like most normal people do? There doesn't have to be a specific theme that's tied to a temporary season of life that I'm in. Well, it turns out that my name, Jennifer Renee Savage, is very, very popular in the online world. I bet you that I tried literally 50 to 100 different combinations of my name on social media, on YouTube, and on website URL domain names, and all of them were already claimed. And I was getting a little frustrated because I really didn't want anything that had a number in it or an underscore or a period. I wanted it to look very professional, very streamlined, and just have my name. But it just so happened that the only available version of my name was by tagging the word "the" on the beginning. And so that is why I chose The Jennifer Savage. And at first that felt a little uncomfortable. It felt a little egocentric. I don't really want this space to just be all about me. But when I started to look at it through a business perspective, it made sense. And what I mean by business perspective is those of you who follow on my Instagram may have noticed in the last few months, I've been strongly hinting that I am wrapping up the book manuscript that I started writing about 4 to 5 years ago. This manuscript is a memoir of my life and how I navigated through undiagnosed mental disorder known as OCD throughout my childhood, adolescent, and young adult life, and how in the thick of it, I really struggled with suicidal ideation. And the God that I even questioned existed met me in that space, and with his light led me out of that darkness and essentially divinely saved my life physically, but also mentally, emotionally, relationally, spiritually, you name it. He rescued me. And so in the coming months, I am going to be working on creating my proposal or my pitch for literary agents who will hopefully pick up this project, this writing project, and connect me with a publisher. When I started thinking, okay, these agents are going to want to know, well, what kind of online presence do you have, or what have your previous works involved and included? And for me, this is going to be the first book that I've ever attempted to publish. So I don't necessarily have that track record of, these are my accolades. But I do have, even if it's small, a space here with you guys through Instagram, YouTube, and a website. And so I really wanted to capitalize on what I already had in place, but just kind of revise it, recreate it to be more standardized and to be all-encompassing of me as a person and what I hope this space represents moving forward. And so I thought it would be fun for this video to kind of give you a tour of my new revamped website. So to get to my website, you'll simply type in thejennifersavage.com. My hope is that this looks a bit more professional and just sets me up for future projects ahead. Shout out to Megan Rowland, who took all of my incredible beachside and surfing photos. I have her linked at the bottom of the website. On the home page, you will see the different categories that I hope to focus on, such as mental, physical, spiritual, and relational health. I also have sprinkled in some of my most encouraging quotes and scriptures that will hopefully relate to other people who are visiting the website. As you go to the About Me page, you will read a little bit more about my story with OCD, mental health distress, how God met me in that space, and now how I hope these things will encourage your own story. And after all, your story is never too dark for God's healing light to rewrite. I really believe that. And so if you continue on to the mental health page, I wanted to make sure to link resources for those who might be in a mental health crisis as they are visiting the website. I also wanted to link mental health book recommendations that really helped me in my times of struggle. Hopefully one day my own published book will be on this page as well. And then I also linked some of my favorite mental health podcast recommendations. So you can click on the order here for the book recs, and then you can go down and click on the listen here for the podcast recs. So if we go back up to the physical health, I just kind of highlight the different categories that I try to keep balanced for my overall general health, as my physical health really directly relates to my spiritual, emotional, and relational and mental health. I also post some of my favorite hikes, some of my favorite ways to get outside and to be active. It's not just, hey, here's my workout, here are the things that I do in the gym. It's more of how can I go outside, connect with the nature around me, get active, get my body moving, and essentially help create overall whole body health. Moving on to the spiritual health, these are where I post some of my favorite meditations, time in God's Word, and where I will monthly post devotionals that hopefully others benefit from. So you can see the devotionals here, but you can also go into the search bar and click specific words if there's a past devotional that you want to search for. And the last category you'll notice is relational health. This page is all about highlighting the importance of getting connected to the people, the community, and the world around you. It includes a tool called ServeMatch, where you can look up local ways to volunteer in your community. But I have also included some of my favorite local ways to serve in my community here in California, as well as global outreach efforts. I'm a firm believer that we were not created to live in isolation from one another, and that helping each other connect and serve is a great way to bring healing to mental distress. So that is my website. I hope it brings encouragement to you and that there's something in this space that helps you along your own journey. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of my new website. I'm so excited for what is in store in the coming months and hopefully the coming years. And I'm so thankful for those of you who have been following along from the very beginning. In some ways, this feels like a beginning to what's ahead, and that's really exciting. Moving forward, I want to end my videos with a reminder that you were made to live. So live well, live intentionally, and live on purpose. Bye, guys.